So we'll call the meeting to order.
Okay.
Welcome to the July 9th, 2020 meeting of the Town of Southampton Planning Board in accordance with the Governor's Executive Order 202.1. And until further notice, all of the board's meetings will be held remotely via video conference. So we ask the public to continually check the town's website for updates and new information. Will you please join in for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic
for which it stands,
One nation.
nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
We have a full agenda posted on the town's website for today's meeting. The town's planning staff, as well as applicants and their representatives, will be participating via Zoom, which is being moderated by CTV. Charles Certain will be muting and holding speakers in a virtual waiting room until it's their time to give testimony before the board. A reminder that applicants and their agents should state their name and address for the record. As is typical, there are no public comments allowed during the daytime meetings. The link to participate in this meeting via Zoom can be found on the town's website. The meeting is also being live streamed on the town's website on the town clerk's meeting portal. Board members who must recuse themselves from any application will state so on the record and will be removed from the meeting until the end of the discussion and vote on the application. Finally, in accordance with the governor's order, this meeting will be recorded and transcribed at a later date and will be made available to the public. Mr. Secretary, can you do a roll call?
I certainly can. Chair LaFaro.
Present.
Vice Chair Finnerty looks to be absent. Secretary is here. Board Member Zuccarelli.
Present.
Board Member Burke.
Present.
Board Member Blaney.
Present.
And Board Member Long is absent, at least for the time being. So we have 5 of 7, enough to go.
I have one
Great.
question.
Do we have any minutes to approve, Phil?
Not this week.
Not this week.
Do we have
So then we'll move right into the agenda
Claire?
and we'll be going in order.
I think Blaney wants to say something, Jackie. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I just wanted to Claire, I wanted to tell her that to take me out of the work session, the first some project. Claire, you're working on it with
Be about the work session?
yeah, with the tile store project. Tile.
can't quite hear you, John.
Anyway, I'm recusing myself
Oh, for what number?
from the miniature golf course.
Oh, for the first item on the evening agenda.
Yeah.
Okay,
Lillian Court.
No problem.
Okay,
okay.
Good,
okay. Did you hear that, Charles?
We can do an announcement. That's for evening, for 6 p.m.
I did hear that.
Yeah. GTB.
I thought it was number 1 on this agenda.
The evening agenda.
Evening.
Okay, sorry.
I
Okay,
don't see it on the evening agenda.
GTB is number 1
Oh,
on the agenda.
thank you.
Okay.
It's called many different things.
Yes.
Lillian Court, Jackie.
Yes. Hi, how are you? So this is a lot line modification between 3 properties, and let me share the screen. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Yep.
Right, so this is the resolution. I am recommending it be deemed incomplete just for some mapping requirements. which you can see on the checklist. But just to give a visual, this is the larger property at 310 Montauk Highway. And then we've got 2 properties fronting at the terminus of Lillian Lane cul-de-sac, which are proposing to, and that's a zoom in for you, and they're proposing to exchange lot area. So essentially, as a result of it, you will see that this parcel is gaining some land here in exchange for giving access to Lillian Court. And then this parcel also is gaining land from 310 and providing a probable easement area from Lillian Lane.
But
Jen, when I was reviewing this, I didn't, okay, I have a note that says why it was incomplete. Now I see.
Yes, so there's lots of mapping issues. The application package looks fine, but there's lots of mapping issues. It's missing zoning, some very basic stuff that I want to get on the maps before we deem it complete and start the referral and public hearing process.
thank you. Motion to deem it incomplete by Glorian, second by
Laney.
Zuccarelli. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, so we have 5 in favor and 2 absent. Moving along to Baidowi. Matthew, that's you.
Yep, number 2. Let me just pull it up on the screen for you guys. We received this pre-application for Baidowi. They're proposing a 3-lot subdivision. This is the animal shelter down in here. I know it's a long, skinny parcel on the aerial, but all the improvements are here. And it goes all the way from, I believe that's Old Country Road, up to Sunrise. If you see the map, it's a little cut up, but can you guys see the key map up on the right-hand side?
Yeah.
So parcel 1 here, this is where the existing improvements would be. They want to do a lot here and lot number 3. They're missing a little bit of information in regards to Pine Barrens. Part of this property does lie within the core preservation area. There's an easement over a portion of the property. We just need additional information. So at this time, there's an attached review sheet on here as well. I'm just recommending that this is deemed incomplete. I sort of emboldened on here the major key points. We want to see a full yield plan. And I've been speaking with Janice and a little bit with Kathleen on this as well, and maybe a 2-lot alternative plan where the whole northern section is for preservation. This involves CPF potentially, but we just need a little bit more information before we move forward.
Okay. Any questions? If not, motion to deem it incomplete. By Corelli, second by Glorian. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? 5 in favor, 2 absent. Anthony, you have Jacqueline Cressay.
I sent you guys an email this morning. The applicant's representative couldn't be here, so we're going to pull it from the agenda.
Okay, number 3 is off. Claire, moving on to you, number 4 on the Canal Apartments.
Yes, Charles, if you could let Kim Judd and John Bennett in to the room. And I'm going to share my screen. So we had this on for discussion 2 meetings ago, about a month ago. This is an application for a 360 square foot addition. This is a 10-unit co-op on East Hannah Road. It had a condo conversion a few years ago and it's received a CO as a condo, as a co-op. And there was some discussion with John Bennett. There was some discussion with John Bennett on the secret designation. We took some time to look at it.
Okay, thank you.
I do, I'm still recommending it's unlisted, but because of the feedback the board gave at the time, I have prepared the documents for SECRA to issue a negative declaration and proceed with the application, waiving the public hearing. There's been no public interest in this during the ZBA process, nor during the original co-op process. So I'm recommending deeming complete, negative declaration, and providing a 30-day written comment period. But the applicant's representative is here if you'd like them to speak about the application too.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, John.
Neg deck's always good. I really have nothing to say. I mean, assuming your vote as per Claire's reso, that's fine.
Claire, do you want it all in, where are you, Claire? You want it
One
all?
resolution, it's in the packet.
Okay,
It's recommending resolved is a negative declaration, the first resolved, and the second one is to deem complete as of today, July 9th, and a public hearing waived, and a comment period till July 27th.
okay, all of that. So do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Phil, second by Zuccarelli. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Rob, did you hear all of that?
No, I'm going to abstain because I did not. So
Okay, so one abstention, one
Thank you.
absent.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you this evening.
Okay,
Bye.
Okay.
okay, we're moving to Anthony.
Yep. Number
EM
5,
Yeah.
Bola EMT Realty. This is the gas station at the corner of Terrace and Montauk Highway in Hampton Bays. It's across the street from the 40 barn. We've been looking at this a long time. Existing gas station, the applicant's proposing in the corner over here, a 1,200 square foot convenience store. They've been before the Zoning Board of Appeals. They've submitted a site plan application. We looked at this about a month ago. We deemed it incomplete. Here's where the building's going with a 44-foot setback off the rear. No changes to the pumps in the front. This is the elevation showing the front elevation here, the back elevation, which is a little there. So anyway, we looked at this about a month ago. We deemed it incomplete. The applicant has since submitted additional information, including the elevations. And I was going to recommend that we deem the application complete and schedule the hearing for August 13th.
Do they have sufficient parking?
They got a relief from one parking space from the ZBA.
So what's the total parking? for the
I believe it's 16 spaces, 17 required.
Okay, that was the only relief, the setback was
It was
okay?
the setback and the parking, and then they, and obviously to get the convenience for the accessory use.
Okay. Any questions? So can I have a motion to deem it complete and set a public hearing for August 13th?
Motion.
Motion by Blaney, second by Zuccarelli. All in favor? Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor, 1 absent. Okay, moving on to number 6, 20 Rivoli LLC. Claire, that's you.
Yes, you saw this as a ZBA referral, a pre-submission on March 12th and a ZBA referral on May 14th. This is to convert the 3rd story into medical office and have the entire building be medical office. This is the old diner property, so we haven't updated that aerial yet. But this is the building the building's here, and that's the parking lot there. So they received their variance from the ZBA to use the 3rd floor, which would be in keeping with the RAD for the property. You were in support of the variances, given the fact that they can't proceed with the RAD because of the lack of a sewer district in the area. But one of your points was you were sorry to see the apartments go, so you're giving them, you thought you'd give them the flexibility, but this would be to deem complete. There's no, at this point, there's been no public interest. So in your pre-submission, you said to waive the public hearing, and that's my recommendation, is to go forward with an enlisted action, negative declaration, and to waive the public hearing.
Any questions on this? We've seen it several times.
Yes, you've seen it several times, and
Right, and we're in
this is
agreement.
going forward at this point. So, okay.
So can I have a motion to
Motion.
deem it complete? It's unlisted, neg deck, waive the public hearing. Gloria,
Second.
second by Robin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor, 1 absent.
And let's let the record reflect that Board Member Long is now with us.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, Jane Firth, Jackie,
Yeah, I have
you just
Jane.
sent some information on that, yeah.
Yes, I have Jane Frith here, and they're asking for the I wanted to let Kieran Pape Murphy into the room if she is there.
Is she the representative?
She's the representative for
What's
the
the name
Jane
again?
Frith. Kieran Pape Murphy.
I don't have that name listed, but
Okay.
could be a phone number.
She was supposed to attend, but she might not be on yet. But we we received a request back in March, and let me share the screen. And then I received the fee as well. So I'm just acting on the extension of the pre-application report for the standard 1 year.
1 year.
Yes.
What's holding them up?
Well, this one has possible endangered species, which is the long-eared bat, as well as possible tiger salamanders. So they are working closely with the DEC. Also, they have been in negotiations and talking to CPF about the rear lots.
Oh, this
As you
is
can
a
see,
large
there's
parcel, yeah.
there's lots of wetlands here, and then there was those 2 lots in the rear. Oh, sorry, I thought the map was attached. I'm not sure. But there were the 2 flag lots. We had a work session in late December, mid to late December, regarding these. There's 2 lots right here and right here that they're proposing purchase through CPF. So I have spoken with Lisa Combrink regarding it, and the planning board supported that in December. So they're getting their preliminary application together and working on all of the DEC issues and mapping requirements, and in talks with CPF as well.
Okay. Any discussion? If not, this is a request for a 1-year extension until
It's February 28th, 2021.
February 8th, 2021.
Yes, 28th, sorry.
Motion.
Motion by Phil, second by Zuccarelli, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, all 6 in favor and 1 absent. Okay, number 8, the estates at Rentzenburg. Jackie, that's you, another extension of an obligation.
No,
Yes.
Jackie, you skipped 8 is 749 Flanders Road.
The schedule changed. They're a different
Oh,
one.
and I had already printed something out.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did too. And
I have to admit I have the wrong one.
So number 8 is, sorry,
749 Flanders Road.
okay, is that you?
That is me. I can pull it. I can pull it for you too. Okay, this is a request for an extension of the action deadline. There's a public hearing on this, I believe, on March 12th, which was that last hearing before everything shut down. It's a special exception for a single-family home. It's in the office district. I've been speaking with Kathleen on this. Being that it's an undersized lot, before taking any action on this, we're recommending that the applicant does a single and separate title search to make sure, it's a single and separate parcel. He is in the process of doing that. It's just taking a little extra time. So he's just requesting a 90-day extension. This will take him till October 8th.
90-day extension, October 8th.
Okay, so
Okay,
this
then
was- this was originally on for a decision. That's why it moved around.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
oh,
He's just,
down here, yeah.
he's not there yet. So that's why it's moved to an extension.
Okay. So a motion for a 90-day extension
So moved.
by Gloria, second by Phil, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor, 1 absent.
Thank you.
Okay, number 9 is the estates at Rentzenburg. Oh, no, we did that.
No, we didn't.
We didn't do that.
We didn't. We introduced it, but we didn't do it.
Okay, that's the extension of the obligation date.
Yes, so there's 2 actions on for both the estates at Rentzenburg. The first action would be for an extension of the obligation date for the restoration of the Abraham Halsey residence, which is at 116 South Country Road. The last time I had checked on it, there was the porch that had to be finished, as well as some of the painting had to be done in compliance with the restoration plans. So this would give them an additional year, which would bring them to May 31st, 2021, although I think they'll be moving forward with it soon, as I think they have a possible purchaser for the lot. So just looking to finalize that, and once they've made all the restoration plans complete, we can then release the remaining $5,000.
This is the historic building right on the main road, right?
Correct. Yeah. Do you guys want to see the resolution, or?
I don't know. So you want an extension of the obligation date
Yes.
till May 31, 2021?
Correct.
Any questions? If not, a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Phil, second by Gloria, all in favor.
Right.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor, 1 absent. Okay, then we're moving down to 45 Fanning Avenue.
Actually, there's another action on estates at Rentzenburg.
The second action.
Yeah.
So what is that? 9A.
Number 10. And this is for, I'll share the screen. This is for another extension and reduction of the performance bond, but this is for the road and drainage.
Okay, so the estates at Rentzenburg, an extension on the bond for the road and drainage.
Yes, so this would give them an additional year and would reduce the bond to 325,000. Sorry, I'm having a little issues with sharing.
And how much is the bond now?
It was for 400,000. So they reduced it by 100. I think it was reduced by approximately 142,000. But hold on one second. It says, okay, sorry, my sharing got paused. Can you see that?
We see the structure.
Okay.
You see a sideways house.
There you go. There's the extension.
Okay. There was a little lag. Okay. So this was the previous resolution for the historic structures. And this is, we currently have, here you go, Phil, $467,720 with the planning board, and we would be reducing it to $325,270 based upon the recommendations and memo of the assistant town engineer who got us that memo on June 30th. I did walk the site, so there is curbing, there is the base course, and the first lift of asphalt. So it is passable. I did have to do some research. I'm sorry, I don't have the final count, but there are some houses that do have certificates of occupancy, which the board is always concerned about. I don't have the exact count on that, but I will get the exact count and put that in the resolution. But they are moving forward, and we did meet with them, with the engineering division and highway, to make sure that they understood what items need to be done to finalize the road and correct some of the curbing on site. So this would give them until next March 30th, 2021, which would give them another year to get that completed. So really it's final lift and correcting some of the issues with the swale and the curbing that was installed.
Okay. Can I have a motion to accept the extension on
Motion.
at Rentzenburg by Phil, second by Gloria, all in favor? Opposed? Someone say something? 6 in favor, 1 absent. Okay, now is 45 Fanning Road number 11?
Yes.
That's what I have. Yes.
Jackie? Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. And if Mark Schiffert is in the room, could we let him in?
Charles Mark Schiffert.
Mark Schiffert Engineering.
Coming.
I'm telling that.
Yes.
Cute.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Whose
dog.
puppy is that?
That's my dog.
Wow, he's gorgeous.
Thank you.
You must eat a lot. You
Yes.
must eat a lot.
He did.
She's a big girl.
He was Jackie's pal.
Yep.
45 Fanning Avenue is the applicant's representative.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
Oh, I see you, Mark. Yes, great.
How are you?
good. How are you?
So,
So this is the report. Unfortunately, I was waiting for some of the town agencies to respond to me, so I wasn't able to get it into the packet. I do apologize, but you know what? Let me show you. Let me show you the map just to familiarize you. All right, so this is the resolution to adopt the report. There we go. So this is the property in question. There is an existing house and some accessory structures that are to be removed. This was previously 2 tax lots, but merged through zoning. This also includes this long but narrow 10-foot wide right-of-way strip, which is just to the north of the property. And this is a zoomed out version to let you see that this 10-foot right-of-way does continue. It is now in the ownership of Mark Schiffert. So he's going to be utilizing that for additional square footage and is proposing access through the 10-foot. This is the subdivision. This is essentially the historic configuration of the lots with the 10-foot right-of-way, and this is the subdivision that he is seeking, showing this as a 10-foot flag strip.
now who owns the other 10 feet strips?
I
Does
do.
the property owner own one?
I mean,
Yes.
I'll let Mark speak to that. I mean, he owns the long narrow strip. I did want to show you though as well, there was a historic subdivision that was done here, which is built out. They are also still showing a 10-foot wide right-of-way as well. So part of the pre-application report does request more information on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mark does have title to the 10-foot right-of-way now, which does border other adjacent properties to the east. And I believe it used to go all the way till Gravel Hill Road.
Is it used as a road?
No,
No one is utilizing it now. But I believe it used to go all the way through this property to Gravel
Yes.
Hill Road.
that's correct.
So right now it's here. It's mainly wooded except for the portion. This lot has since been cleared from the aerial, and this is also cleared as well. This is a town recharge basin here, utilized for drainage, and this is Stonewood Avenue, and this is Fanning Avenue.
So do you want to go through the report, Jackie?
Sure. Yes, and you should have all gotten an email copy of this if you want to refer to it. So this is 45 Fanning Avenue. It's a 2-lot subdivision located on the north side of Fanning Avenue, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 228-117.1 and 263-6-9.1. It is in the R20 zoning district. It has a lot area of 38,000 plus the 10,000, roughly 375 square foot, 10-foot right-of-way. This is the description. It is a type 2 action pursuant to SECRA. We did, let me see here. Sorry, just need to move my bar out of the way. Sorry, I'm not sure if you can see that. So with this, we are recommending that they move forward with the 2-lot standard plan. The planning board did waive the cluster plan requirement on February 27th, 2020. It does meet criteria for the minor review. The Hampton Bays comp plan does state to promote traditional neighborhood design. So with variances, this would be in keeping with the surrounding community character, which is all built out, no adjacent open space except for the town-owned recharge area to the north. I am recommending, since there's one house, that the park area requirement be waived, and that we require a park fee, which for 2-lot subdivisions is a flat fee of $2,500 per lot. So that would just be against the one new residence to the north. We did have a public hearing. Sorry. Oh. Sorry. I feel like sometimes it goes to sleep. Sorry.
But you didn't attach the public comments, right?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Actually, I did have them. I must
But
have.
they were not in the report.
Yeah, so we did have some concerns with the neighbors. They were concerned with the existing development going on and questioning the number of houses. This is close to the backyard of one of the parcels, so it has been cleared as of now. But they did have some general concern on how this met zoning, et cetera. So I will add that in. I'm sorry, I had it on an earlier version.
Yeah, Jackie, is that say the public hearing was 2004?
That's incorrect, Robin. I must have saved over the wrong draft. So
Okay.
sorry. It was actually on our first public hearing that we had on May 14th. So I will.
Oh, okay. I was going to say it's a little old.
Yeah, no, that is very old.
What time flies.
Well, we're having fun, you know.
Yeah. Sorry, I must have been working off the wrong draft.
So when was the public hearing? I'm sorry, Jack.
It's okay. So the public hearing was May 14th. We did have neighbors who were concerned about the development. You know, with the 10-foot right-of-way, the applicant does have sufficient lot area for the R20 zoning district. Although I am recommending that both parcels take access via a common driveway, which I'll get to in the recommendations portion. So I'm sorry, I'll fix that hearing part. Fire prevention, I did just receive their comments. They did not have concerns, so I'll put that in there. They got me comments late yesterday. They said that the area is served with public water and that they had no objections to the application as proposed. We did not receive anything from the Hampton Bays Fire District, and the town engineer did have standard comments that they would recommend a 14-foot driveway. And from Fanning Avenue, as I discussed with them, that the 10-foot wide strip serving lot 2 would be too narrow to comply with the driveway safety requirements in section 360. So they are getting me comments possibly today, which I can add in there, but they did give me a brief summary that they'll be requesting 3-inch drainage, which is standard, and that the driveway would have to be 14 feet wide. The highway department also, they offered comments on June 29th. And they said, upon review of the reference project, we have no exception at this time. We would ask that the stormwater be captured on site and not discharged onto the town roadways, and to take that into consideration upon review. So the common driveway will be planned accordingly to, you know, have the proper pitch and also provide for all stormwater entrapment, and then new houses will have to provide for drainage, roof water drainage for the 3-inch requirement.
Jackie, is there any code requirement when a property is next to a town drainage area?
Unless there's regulated wetlands, which the Conservation Board actually gets into that, which is their comments we received just yesterday as well, which was July 8th was their meeting. They did say that there's no regulated wetlands. So only if there's regulated wetland vegetation would we be imposing any buffers from that recharge area. But otherwise there's no setback requirements. So the Conservation Board did state that it lies within the Shinnecock Bay watershed, which is part of the larger state designated South Shore Estuary Reserve. These areas are marked by a history of declining water quality associated with the increased upland development. That the track is adjacent to a town recharge basin, which does not support wetland vegetation. As such, the proposed subdivision is outside of the wetlands permitting jurisdiction pursuant to Chapter 325, and that the northerly portion had been forested but was recently cleared, thereby adversely impacting wildlife and scenic values. Their last comment number 4 is the applicant is seeking to divide the tract into 2 residentially zoned lots, as well as construct a second dwelling on lot 1, where the allowable yield is only 2 lots. In order to better water quality protection for Shinnecock Bay, the plans need to be revised to eliminate the second dwelling on proposed lot 1. Trails Advisory Board, sorry.
Can I interrupt? Well,
Sure.
on that point, is this in the APOD?
This is not.
Okay.
No,
Thank
this is in like southern Hampton Bays. This is south of Montauk Highway.
That's
you know, as you're going over the bridge by the train trestle, as you're going on Montauk Highway, this is just south of there, just so you have an idea of where it is.
Thank you.
Yep. And the Trails Advisory Board, they did get me comments yesterday as well, and they said that they have no trail implications at this time. We did not get any comments from the Hampton Bays CAC. So I will let Mark speak to some points, but I did want to go through my recommendations. I am recommending that they proceed with the standard plan prepared by Mark Shippert. I do have concerns. We did get some information from the applicant that they had researched regarding the 10-foot right-of-way. I do still have some hesitancy and some concern about that. So we are asking that a title search be provided. And Kathleen helped me with this, confirming that no parcels surrounding and are adjacent to the 10-foot right-of-way have access to or any interest lesser than fee title, and that said right-of-way and document or map creating said right-of-way. So why was this created? What was the intent originally? There does seem to be some information that it was possibly for utility lines and that this area was never then utilized for high tension utility lines, but there's not a great amount of information. I did get a packet from the applicant right here with lots, it's thick with lots of deed information, but we would like a title company to formally search this to make sure that no one has rights that would be extinguished as a result of this, so that we can review that prior to the final application. So that would be a completeness issue that I'm asking for to be reviewed by the town attorney's office before we would deem the final complete. Also, the applicant does require lot width variances. Taking from the map, it doesn't show the exact dimensions at the front yard setback, which is the true lot width requirement. But they have an approximate lot width of 100 feet for lot 1, and then they also have an approximate lot width of 109, which includes that 10-foot right-of-way to the north, where the R20 zoning district requires 120 feet wide for conforming lots. I do have to add in there as well that 10-foot right-of-way was proposed as access, but that also, I'm going to add that into this recommendation number 3, that does not have sufficient frontage, which the minimum frontage for a flag lot is 20 feet. So I'll add that in there as well. And then, so number 4 is, although the applicant is proposing access to lot 2 via the 10-foot right-of-way, the planning board recommends that both lots be served via a common driveway from Fanning Avenue to comply with section 330, 360. So I would be recommending a 20-foot wide easement to allow for drainage and the improvements of at least 14-foot wide common driveway. And common driveway plans will be required at the final application stage to be reviewed by engineering. And there is an existing residence on lot 1, which Conservation Board got into. Our general recommendation for this is that if an additional principal dwelling is proposed, that the applicant shall either remove, relocate, or make the existing structure conforming. Technically, they are allowed to retain the historic setbacks of this residence and utilize it as an accessory structure. And then the applicant basically might want to speak to that as a possible future accessory apartment. The engineering comments I did not get, but I do anticipate I'll get them today, but they had standard comments about the driveway requirements. And then there's some mapping requirements asking for the ownership and dimensions, as well as the existing water mains in the roadways and nearest fire hydrants.
Thank you. Mark, would you like to address some of the issues?
Yes, I would like first, everybody can hear me?
Yes.
Yes, so I'd like first of all to congratulate Jacqueline for a very thorough job that she's done and the analysis that she's also provided. In terms of, yes, going back to the map, yes. So historically, this was 2 lots. I really would like to have the access of lot 2 off Stonewood Road. I think it would be better from an urban planning point of view, rather than a shared driveway off Fanning Avenue. Fanning Avenue is a major thoroughfare. There's a lot of traffic. Here there is a 10-foot right-of-way. The 10-foot right-of-way was acquired for that specific purpose, to be able to have the access for that lot. When we acquired that 10-foot right-of-way, we also understand that this was a proposed utility easement for high-tension line that were they never carried through with that plan, and it's been owned by that same family who has owned the majority of the land in that area, the King family. So we we did a thorough research on that to make sure that there was no any something we did not know. And it appeared clear, and was on that basis that we purchased that right of way. We are not planning to utilize the right of way that's east of the property. So that section would be abandoned, and then we possibly did it to the neighbors on either side. But on our plan, what we were proposing was that to have an emergency access off Fanning Avenue for the lot that would front on would have a Stonewood address, have an emergency access, an emergency easement access that we show here on that plan. See that we would show that, yes, exactly. Instead of this being a common driveway, this would be an emergency easement. Staying on this plan regarding the existing structure, I thought, that area is a prime area for residential use. It's a great neighborhood. And it's, I thought that possibly here we are showing to keep the existing house, which is a very cute, small Sears house, just about 1,000 square feet, and build a second residence and possibly use the house in the front as an accessory apartment. But this would be the subject of another application. And if we have to tear down the small house, we will. But I would plan to possibly get either a variance or make an application to be able to have the two structures. The land is perfect for it. Otherwise, if anybody else has any other question. I think
Yes.
that,
I have a question about wanting two access points. Jackie, we talked about a combined access point off Fanning, right?
Yes,
Yes,
that's what I'm recommending.
Yeah.
I would prefer to have the access point for the lot to the north
Can
to
you
be
show
off
us the aerial,
Stonewood.
Jackie?
Sure, yes.
It is although it is only 10 foot wide, on the left side, that's where you have that recharge area. It's completely open. I think it would be better to have the normal access through Stonewood Avenue. It's a small, it's not a very long access.
But it's an undersized, very narrow driveway, which is
10 foot.
not what code recommends and not what fire access.
No, you're
I
right.
think that's why you're recommending another road, which is.
Yeah, so my thought was to give an emergency fire access off Fanning Avenue from the other lot. You know what I'm saying? Such that.
I know what you're saying, but it's not the best planning scenario for two lots this way.
I mean, common driveways are not something that.
We have common driveways all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Jackie, what's the width? Would be the width of the common driveway?
There's one right here.
Yes, exactly.
The common driveway easement would be 20.
20.
So that would just be on paper. And then the physical driveway would have to be 14 feet wide to access both properties. Right now, the driveway is along the eastern property boundary, which is what the applicant's proposing, kind of showing on this plan.
So I think what you're hearing, Mark, is that that's the driveway and the access point that we would recommend, and not this 10 foot. Robin, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I have a question, please. Can we go back to the map, to the overview?
Aerial?
Yeah, the aerial. Thank you so much. Mark, you've purchased the right-of-way going how far off your property? How far is it going?
All the way. It is a single tax lot.
It's right
all the way to
all the way to this.
All the way to this point, yes.
Okay, so that when you close off, when you close off it from here down at your area, we now have a tax map section that is completely cut off from the rest of the world. It's just going to sit there. What did you intend to do with that? Because that's affecting the property rights and expectations of the people adjoining that right of way. Because when they bought their property, that right of way strip was not owned. Who was it owned by the way?
It's owned by King, the King family, or some, you know, it's the daughter of this person whose name was King.
But Jackie, didn't you say something about a title search? Or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have a title search.
So as a requirement for the final application, I'm asking for a title search.
But
to
I'm
specifically
concerned,
review.
even going beyond the title search, that if the title search should show that Mark can purchase that, and in doing his two lot subdivision, he cuts off the beginning part of that, then that rest of that right of way now is cut off from access from anywhere. So it just sits in limbo.
Yes,
And I'm concerned about that.
I had the same concern.
Yeah, no, I understand. So this would either we could deed it to the property on either side, or we could leave it as an open space, as an open space, a strip of open space for
There are
wild.
many properties. There's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I mean, look at it, and there's an assumption when you abandon that way that the properties on either side get half. If I'm correct, and please somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
That's an old file map, Robin.
Yeah, well, that's old file map, but I'm wondering how you're going to deed out this piece of property. And
So if I may I be heard real quick?
Kathleen, yes, good.
So Mr. Schiffer did in fact submit a lot of documentation as it relates to the ownership of that 10-foot right-of-way. He got a quick claim deed from the King family, which, as Jackie indicated, for that entire 10-foot right-of-way has its own tax map number. What Jackie and I were asking for the board to look for in your final approval would be anything that suggests that the property owners on either side have an easement or some kind of interest lesser than fee title to that right-of-way in the first instance. And then in the second instance, Mr. Schiffer did indicate that it was created as part of perhaps utility lines. And that's what we want to know. How did this get created? Was it for access or was it just for utility lines? And so that information we think can answer your questions, Robin, because we have those concerns as well.
Okay, good.
But I think that Robin's concern is also what happens to the parcel, you know, because we did do a lot of research and we found that none of the adjacent owners had any rights to that section.
I understand, but
otherwise we wouldn't have bought it. But the question is that what will happen to that parcel after this subdivision is approved? So that's a legitimate concern, and I think that it could either be kept as an open space, you know, this is what I would prefer and recommend, if I may, or it could be deeded to the other parcel, to the people on the other side.
Well, it would have to be deeded to all the properties onto which it backs.
No, it doesn't have necessarily to be. It doesn't have to be abandoned. That's, you know, the abandonment.
No, I said it's that 10-foot strip is the back of several properties.
No, it's separate. They stopped at that property. They stop at the property. That's its own tax lot.
Jackie Fenley, can you zoom in to show the board that it's its own tax lot?
Let me see.
It's absolutely its own.
This one shows its own tax lot. It just doesn't show the terminus.
Road, yeah.
It doesn't show the terminus. I did want the board to be aware, though, which is why I added this as well, that there was this map that was adopted by the planning board in 1987. They actually left the other half of the 10-foot wide right-of-way on the rear of these lots, just so you're aware. So to the north, this is the recharge area. This is where the subject property is.
Did they do it for a reason? Is there a finding?
So there's nothing, I looked through the Sherwood Hollow file and there's nothing on the record of why it still remains there. But in 1987, essentially they saw that another 10-foot was on the north, and that's essentially still there on that map. I just wanted you to be aware. And then we're dealing with the southern 10-foot strip.
I think Kathleen summarized my concerns of what's going to happen if the front half of that is now deeded into this other property to give it additional width and zoning. Then what happens to the back part? I think Kathleen summed
Yes.
position up very well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so those are issues that we have in the pre-app report, which is the purpose of a pre-app report. It gives you the concerns that we have. So are there any other concerns that anybody wants to address with Mr. Schiffer?
No, I think, we'll proceed with all the requests that Jacqueline has put down on the report. And then we'll proceed also with the health department approval, I suppose.
Kathleen, I did have one question. If the planning board requires a common driveway here, could this be utilized as secondary access just individually for this lot? I mean, I'm not comfortable with it being the formal access. Because
I mean, that's within the planning powers and discretion of the planning board. If that's something that they feel comfortable with, it's up to the board members. I don't know if that's typical.
It's not typical. It's 10 foot. There would be just a main access here. So
I mean, the other option would be.
It's not very long. It's not very long. If I'm not sure if Jacqueline could zoom in there to get the dimension, but it's not on the other one. The other one.
Which one? The aerial?
Yeah, for the other lot. For the other lot. Yes.
It's not typical.
So do you have it accessing where you have the existing 1,000 square foot house?
Well, we have.
Where is the house? Is the house right there?
This one is only, well, it's in 89 feet. This section is in 89 feet.
Sorry, trying to get to the. Is that it, Mark? That is it.
Yes, that's it. Yes. It's further south, further west. Down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is
exactly.
Mark, I do have to say, I do have concerns with this being the sole access. I did a site inspection and it is fenced on either side and it is extremely narrow. And it doesn't meet the code, which is why I'm recommending the 14-foot common driveway from Fanning Avenue.
Right, that makes sense all around.
Plus, I think once you open that and you start having people use it, I don't know, you're going to have a problem stopping people from the upper area trying to access that also. That's,
And another option would be this 10-foot strip could be deeded to this adjacent property owner here. So that way there would never be that conflict, as well as, figuring out the intent and who has any rights, if any, of the access strip as it goes further east.
Okay. So are we, no further discussion, are we making a motion to adopt this report, Jackie, or?
Yes, if you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Gloria.
Motion by Gloria, second by Zuccarelli. All in favor? Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor and 1 absent. So thank you, Mark.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it. I guess we leave the meeting.
Okay, so now we're up to Matthew.
It's number 12 is Peconic Paddler.
Okay. 12 Peconic Paddler, that's Anthony.
Yep. It's just an extension of the action deadline, but let me just pop this up for you.
Extension.
Yeah, where's
to.
Well, here, I'll go through it. Everyone knows the Peconic Paddler site. There's a little zoom in here with the existing boat rental. There's a proposal that we looked at to redevelop the site with the restaurant and the boat rental, new access with the parking. Just a little reminder, here's one of the elevations to give you a sense, nice building. The action deadline is July 15th. I initially was going to do the wetlands permit and the conditional approval today, but the applicant submitted revised plans because there was a lot of engineering concerns. So we're waiting for the engineering review. So we could incorporate the proper conditions. So we're just doing an extension of the action deadline from July 15th to the next meeting, July 23rd.
Is that enough?
Oh yeah, we have the plans in, so they're just being reviewed.
Okay. Motion? Motion on that? Motion by Phil, second by Gloria. All in favor? Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. Shinnecock Hills Golf Club is next.
Yes.
Maybe.
Claire?
So if you could let Tony Panza in, Charles, and just for a heads up for the next one, Selensky Law Firm is for the next item.
So Panda is for
Shinnecock Hills.
Shinnecock and Zelensky is for Noyak.
Yes, so we reviewed this at the last meeting. And there was no special concerns with this. We were waiting for the fire marshal to come back and they didn't have any special concerns either. So that was included, those comments though were included in the staff report. I also included reference to the tents, the temporary tents that was permitted on the property. So just so you see the plans, this is the aerial for the area. This is the existing parking area, which is being constructed in generally this area, and then they're moving the pro shop also with this application. Here is the area with this. So and that's the buildings, which are very in keeping, and this is the staff report that we reviewed the last meeting. Tony, are you here? No, maybe not.
It's hard when you have the share screen up, but he's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon.
Great. I just summarized the application. I gave this to Tony ahead of time to review. I don't know if you had any questions or questions without the.
No questions or comments.
Okay. Do you want me to just go through the conditions?
Yes, please.
Great. So the changes to the plans include the handicap parking spaces will be paved. The rest is going to be a more pervious surface, but the handicap spaces will need to have the appropriate signage. B and C are comments from the town engineer, which need to be noted. The general conditions is the fire district and fire marshal requirements. LED 3000 or less, screening of HVAC, no dust and lighting fixtures, no additional lighting without planning board approval, and all lighting shall project downward, no public address systems, the speedies requirements and the pre-meeting for the town engineer, the speedies requirement again, and then engineer fee if it's not been paid, the affidavit, 6 sets of plans, the highway department approval for work, as required, and the SWIP prior to issuance of building permits, and any existing non-conforming lighting shall be removed prior. That's pretty standard. And then the maintenance bonds for the landscaping buffer area in the fronts.
Do we not want a condition for the tent?
The tent is already part of the original decision for the tent, that it's only up for 1 year.
Okay, we don't have to include that in here.
No, it's included as reference. I mean, this is approving the staff report. It's included as reference in the staff report, but there is a separate resolution for that action. So,
okay.
So I'm recommending approval with conditions.
Okay. Any questions? If not, can I have a motion to approve Shinnecock Hills Golf Club pro shop and parking? By Phil, second on this by Gloria. All in favor? Abstentions, 6 in favor and 1 absent. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And then here for the next one.
Are you also here for the Noyak Golf Club?
Yes.
Review of the staff report.
Right, so last meeting, again, you reviewed the staff report on this. In this case, there was some questions.
Is Senlensky also involved with this?
Yes, he is.
Is he here?
Yes.
I don't hear him or see him.
He may be muted.
Charles, can you unmute Mr. Senlinski?
He can unmute himself. I'm trying. There you go.
Okay, there you are.
Hi, Mike. Just identify yourself if you could.
Mike Lieberman, Long Range Planning.
What was that? I'm sorry.
No, not Mike Lieberman. I'm sorry. Mike Zenlinski. Sorry, too many Mikes. Not enough Mikes, I mean, but.
My humor is so foul.
Mike Senlinski, are you there?
He just dropped out.
Yeah.
Okay, he must, well, I think he needs to be here.
Yeah.
He's afraid of you, Jackie.
He's been here the whole time, for the whole meeting.
Okay, so what's happening with his video and audio?
I'm gonna call him here now. He's no longer here. So he's gotta come back.
In the meantime, do you want me to share the screen?
Sure.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So this is the area for the main portion of the golf club buildings, the maintenance area where the activity is happening for the main maintenance building. And down here is the training facility, which is part of the golf driving range. And here, this was part of the comments from the neighbors that they wanted the access closed, and that was we brought up, discussed at the staff reports last meeting. And then so that we asked the applicant to address that.
There you are. There's Mike.
Hi guys, sorry about that. You wait an hour and then of course at the time you're ready to go, it kicks you off.
Okay.
So you asked them to address that. There's been some information that was submitted to you, I believe yesterday or the day before, and some additional information the applicant provided today, which I can also show to you. If you have that information up. Mike or Tony, do you want to speak to this a little bit first?
Claire, if you bring up the
Tony just froze.
This is the information submitted today. There was a cover letter. Some of the board members, unless you opened your email, it's 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock today, you wouldn't have gotten it. But here's like a composite map. But maybe Tony.
I can run through it. Yep. Thank you, Claire. So the information on the right of the page is on the right side there is the subdivision map from the original Noyak Hills from 1961. And I highlighted the three reserved areas on the west side of that subdivision. And then I brought next to it, I placed what the planning board approved for the golf course routing plan in 1965, and showing that at this location here, where the routing plan had located the maintenance facility, was the intention to use the access at that location, which is the southern. And then if you go up to the middle of the property, the routing plan coordinates with the clubhouse using the central location for the driveway. And so in 1965, when the planning board's reviewers would have had both information and would have known that the access to the maintenance would have been through the reserved area in the same way that the access to the clubhouse was through the other reserved area, making it and basically that they had knowledge how.
Okay, Tony, thank you. And thanks for providing all of that information and the maps. And I guess, Mike, you also submitted some title search issues.
I did, and I think just to add to Tony's point, if you look at what I submitted and the aerials that are there, you'll see that there's a historical road that basically goes over the southern reserve area that accesses the maintenance area. So this has been in use. You can't really see it on the 62 overhead, but on the set from 74 on, you can see that the road existed in this location and was used. We also submitted 2 affidavits from longtime Noyak residents and one of the founding members of the club and one of the professionals, stating to the fact that this area was used from the very beginning to access the maintenance area.
Right. So the issue that we need to establish is proper ownership, not necessarily historic documents, but actual deeds, titles. I mean, I'm concerned that we, in a
Madam Chair, they have submitted a title search showing that they have fee title to that Southern Reserve area. I believe they acquired it from Suffolk County back in 2001. They did submit that. Mike, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yep, that's 100% correct, Kathleen.
Okay, but when I read that, it discounts that portion. Can we pull that up, that Suffolk County? I mean, there were 26 pages in that submission. I think it's
no. What it actually did, they retired the individual tax map number for that reserve area, and they joined it into the tax map for the overall golf course parcel.
Right. So they did a correction deed, Madam Chair, to basically pull that into the overall. And you'll see on the GIS, the town's GIS does in fact show it as part of the Noyak Golf Club now.
Okay, so it's deeded to you, you have title to it, all of that ownership is clear. Because that was our concern. That,
you can see it's part of that right
well,
here.
it's sort of an informal. And is that used on a daily basis during the operation of the golf course when you're operating, which is from like March until November?
It's not on a daily basis. It's from time to time, and I think one thing that I would mention is that when the club came in front of you 5 or 6 years back about enhancing the use of this area, at that time they were using it more often, and since then to show to the neighbors that they wanted to be neighborly, they've done a very good job. And some neighbors can attest to it, of being very specific about the hours that they would use that, and how they've been able to reduce the use on it. And I think, and we only had.
Tony, do we?
Sorry,
I didn't realize that there are hours. So do we have any of that? Those details?
No, the golf course has hours that they don't turn on equipment to, again, as a good citizen to the neighbors, in the same vein of where the villages have been talking about not having gas-powered backpacks.
Okay, does anybody else on the board have some questions?
I just have a question about the piece. Leave the screen up exactly how it is. There seems to be a mirrored piece on the other side of Wildwood. Was that part of that reserve area too?
That's a separate reserve area. I think there were 6 or 8 of them through the Noyak Hills Estate subdivision when it was created, and that is a separate reserve area.
Separately deeded. It's completely separate, deeded and all.
Correct. Yes, Member Long, that's in the ownership of Adam Sender, if I'm not mistaken, according to our GIS system.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. If nobody else has any questions, I can prepare a resolution for the next meeting. Because this was the biggest issue, I think. Otherwise, the design of the buildings were appropriate. Anybody?
Yeah, I just have one more question. The maintenance area, are you doing anything further with that? Or is that complete? Because you were reconstructing it about 6 years ago. That's what created the whole issue.
Yes.
So
There's the only work planned in there under this application is that we're putting in 4,200 square feet of natural plantings along the property line.
to sort of buffer that from the
Yes, yes,
visually.
yes, yep.
Do we have a plan for that, Claire?
We do. We do
Yeah.
have a plan for that. I think it's actually in the packet.
Yeah, it's in that set right there.
Yeah. I've been trying to keep it, and I think it's the next one. Nope, it's not.
Oh,
That doesn't look like a full drawing there.
Yeah, I don't think I have the full drawings. So I think I
But
mean,
you can see in the key map that if you can go up a little bit, Claire.
Yep.
Seeing there is notation there, and the thicker part of that drawing, the denser part, that's where the plantings
the
are.
planting is, okay.
Yeah, that's what's being cited
it's not
there.
going to come out very well, but it's in this area. Yeah.
Okay, so you can have it for the next, when we go forward.
Yes. And if you could just on the record, one of you ask for the extension till the July 23rd meeting so we can do a decision.
July 29, no?
23rd?
Is it 23rd?
Yeah. One of you?
Tony, do you want to ask for an extension?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tony.
We're asking for an extension to the 23rd.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I'll do a resolution if the board would care to pass it.
Okay. So the motion is to agree to an extension to July 23rd for final report on Noyak Golf Club. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Gloria and second by Phil. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? 6 in favor, 1 absent.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony. Mike is here. Mike Lieberman on number 14, repealing 330-248.
Hello, how are you guys?
Good.
It's good to see you all healthy. And Charles, thank you for dealing with all of us. This is in regards to a town board referral regarding repealing town code section 330-248Q. This is the RTW PDD, if you might recall, and reverting to the corresponding parcels to their prior zoning classification of highway business. I'm just going to quickly share my screen. Wish me luck. Okay, great. So some of you were on the planning board during this time, perhaps, but in 2007, RTW received PDD and they were approved. And since then, there's been no action and there's been several extensions. And as of this February, the PDD expired. And as you may remember, PDD is no longer a tool for our zoning in this town. And it was for a 50-unit age-restricted housing development and is now expired as of February, and the applicant is no longer interested in renewing. So it's kind of been this strange limbo of not really having a zoning classification, meaning that the PDD has expired and we haven't met formally to reclassify it. So according to 330-244J, which states, in the event of an expiration of approval, the PDD may, after a proper notice and a public hearing, revert to its prior zoning classification, and the town clerk shall amend the official copy of the zoning map. So as you can see, it's the property is the two lots that are right next to each other, highlighted in red with the RTW RPDD designation. It's just north of West Montauk Highway, and the address is 310 West Montauk Highway and 304 West Montauk Highway. It's about 8 acres, and we are recommending that we reclassify it as HB, which in the surrounding zoning to the south, east, and west is all HB. And we believe that this is, basically matches what we had hoped with the comprehensive plan objectives, as well as it's a low traffic use. So we don't really see any issue with this reclassification.
What is the Alamara Road? What are the properties off that? They look residential.
These are residential, yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Mhm.
So what zoning starts at that point?
I think your eyes are better than mine. Where are we looking exactly? Is this across the street or
No, this way.
The west.
To the west.
west?
The west.
So that you'll see
Right.
that's all HB to the west?
And well, right next to this parcel that we're discussing?
Yes, there's a QPSUD, which I don't even think we really use anymore.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, that's not abutting. So it's really to the west, it's HB, to the east, it's HB, and to the south. To the north, we have the LIRR station and CR 200, but it's all surrounding HB zoning, which is.
Okay, so I'm just confused because.
Madam Chair, if I may, those residential parcels are located in an HB zone.
Mhm.
Okay, so they had special exception or?
Yeah, either that or they're pre-existing non-conforming. So they may pre-exist that HB zone.
Okay.
So just for reference, if you remember Tureski.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask.
Tureski is just to the west, on the west northwest of Alamara.
Yeah.
Tureski, but those are residences there. They're residential zones, but they're the non-conformity.
Correct.
So,
Right, but this zone was all changed in when? 2007?
2007. Yes, and then it's been over a decade. They have yet put shovels in the ground. They no longer wish to. So
it goes back to HB and
then we'll
can be subdivided into any number of parcels, right?
if perhaps yes. I'd have to look at the underlying zoning. Excuse me, not the underlying zoning. The uses, and depending on what they're doing, but yes, it could be subdivided.
Well, highway business is 15,000 square feet, right?
40,000 square feet.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
Per lot, it's 40,000 square feet.
And ownership remains the same.
It's no larger than 15,000.
Oh,
Well,
the building
across town.
cannot be, yes. Buildings cannot be larger than 15,000 square feet. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mike, ownership remains the same?
At this time, but once it's reverse HB zoning, they could sell a lot, and as as Jackie pointed out, it could be subdivided, and if HB is 40,000 square feet, approximately 8 acres, but we don't really have any other options considering it's now expired, and to zone it anything else might be considered spot zoning.
So are there two lots here, Mike, or no?
Yes, there are 2 lots.
There are,
They're highlighted in red. One's smaller than the other.
okay. So you change it for both. The language would be to lift the old RPDD from both lots.
Yep.
And convert them both to HB.
Or
Correct.
revert them back to
Reclassify.
their prior zoning.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, it's clear to me now. Thank you.
Yeah, I apologize.
That's no, it's not at all. So any other questions? If not, can I have a motion to adopt number 14, repealing section 340, 248?
Motion.
Motion by Phil, second by Gloria, and all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. You got it, Mike. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Good to see you.
It's good seeing you as well. Stay healthy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Claire, number 15, Homeland Towers Water Mill.
That is off the agenda.
it is that were they supposed to do that visual?
Right, they need more time to complete it.
Okay.
Is the board okay? I do have one item that would be a walk-on item, and I do apologize. I just found out about it
What
yesterday.
is it, Becky?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. What is it? I mean, is it a full draft report that we have to read?
What's happened is the Corwith Red Barn, the owners have reached out to me, and unfortunately their barn collapsed late this spring. So the actual red barn has collapsed and they've received a code violation. I do have pictures of it that they emailed me last night and this morning just to show you the condition, but they are requesting to demolish the structure at this point. Would you like to see the picture? So you can.
Where is this, Jackie?
This is at the intersection of Seven Ponds Town Road and Watermill Town Road and Lower Seven Ponds.
Or they just put in the farm stand?
Yeah.
Just to the south of that. So let me show you. So this is the four-way intersection. So this is Seven Ponds, Lower Seven Ponds as you get to Scuttle Hole that way. And then this is Upper Seven Ponds that goes into Watermill proper. This light blue is the Corwith Red Barn parcel. We were approving it for lots on this side as well as lots at the terminus of the cul-de-sac. It is a COS plan. The planning board had adopted a pre-application report, which had been since reauthorized until 2018, August 8th. They have been working on their health department approval, which has been somewhat problematic. They have worked out a solution with them. And what has happened is they received a violation in June because the barn is unsecured and unstable. So they're working to rectify that. This is the barn. And then unfortunately, this is now the barn.
Wow.
Nothing historic about these structures, right?
I mean, they would be considered historic. So I was going to offer a resolution that no objection to the demolition, although require landmarks review. But unfortunately, a lot of the wood is so old and in poor condition. The applicant has also provided an email. I tried to bring that email into this PDF for you so you could read. But the concern is that there was a lot of deterioration of the wood, possibly from insects, et cetera, or, rot. And unfortunately, they said most of the timber is not salvageable as well. The rationale, actually, where this barn is located is actually right here. And I'm sorry that this is a more recent overlay, but this has the water quality on it. So the barn is actually situated right here, right now. And it is actually carved out as one of the lots because the original intent was to save the barn and repurpose it as a residence. Unfortunately, though, given the conditions and the elements have taken their toll, they're not going to be able to save it at this point. And it is a safety, it's kind of an emergency and a safety issue at this point. So they're hoping to just demolish it to reduce the safety issue. And then one of the owners is an architect.
Do you have a map of this subdivision?
You know what? This was kind of before the time of scanning subdivision maps, but let me see if I do. Because this
there's a lot more detail to this than I thought it would be.
Sorry, I just wanted to show you the pictures. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, that would go for $5 million in Sagaponic.
Yeah, and selling those barn boards are.
So this was an older aerial. Can you see this?
All right, this is the Conservation Opportunity Subdivision.
Yes. Yep. So there's only lots going in this location.
How many? How many?
I think it's 5. I think it's just 3 here and then 2 down here. And then the rest is to be preserved. So we were fighting to get this view shed here to remain, which is highly visible.
And how do you get back to these?
These lots are accessed by flags. So I think there's one flag here and then another flag here and then a road fronting lot. And then these 2 are accessed via like a common driveway from the cul-de-sac of Winding Way. And I do apologize. This just came up and they're trying to rectify the violation.
Well, I don't know how the rest of the board feels about it.
Well, so I can prepare a resolution, which would be no objection, but subject to review by the Landmarks and Historic Board, as well as no vested rights in the subdivision, which is standard.
So what happens to that lot where the barn was?
Well, it was always planned as a residential lot, and they were hoping to repurpose the historic barn as a residential structure.
I think not anymore.
I mean, it had to be in this condition all along. I don't know how they thought they could repurpose it.
Well, the owner who did want to keep this and carved it out as a lot is one of the daughters of the original owner of the farm, and she's an architect. She did want the planning board to know that she did take measurements of it. She's an architect, so her and her son did take measurements of all of everything, basically, so they might be able to replicate it.
But as long as we put a caveat in there that the historic board has to take a look at this.
Yes, and I told them to anticipate that as a condition.
What could the historic board stop from happening? I don't know the full expanse of their powers.
They actually just provide recommendations prior to the demolition permit. So they will actually do an inspection and prepare a study, which will basically state whether or not they believe anything can be salvaged. At this point, I mean, with these pictures, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like much can be salvaged at this time. And, you know, the architect is the daughter, and she was really, you know, she knows it's an icon of the area. And I honestly, I was like, it's very sad to see it go as well. You know, I've seen this barn growing up here. But unfortunately, you know, it fell down.
So they would make findings and then it would come back to us, or they make findings?
They would make findings, but they would make findings and then it would implicate and then allow them to proceed with a building permit.
To demolish.
Yeah. It would be required prior to the building permit.
But it wouldn't come back to us for any other further review.
It wouldn't, except for at the subdivision stage, we could.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you know, before they can demolish.
No, for us, this would be a one and done, but recommend that it be reviewed by the Landmarks and Historic District Board.
Okay, can you draft a resolution and send it to us all?
Sure.
As soon as possible, right? And I think it's difficult to get these walk-ins, particularly now when we want to do some particular reviews. So when did they get the violation?
The violation was June 16th.
And when did the demolition?
It's already
like that. When did this
violation was June 16th?
Yeah, but when did the building go into?
They said, I believe it was late March.
Okay, so.
And we had a mild winter.
Yeah.
Although windy. It was very windy. Yeah, so unfortunately, yeah, it's a goner.
Okay, if there are no questions, we can take a vote on this to issue a demolition permit pending review and approval by the Historic Preservation Board.
And I also no vested rights, which is a standard.
And no vested rights. So you'll draft it, send it to us?
Yep.
So do I have a motion to accept this?
Motion.
Motion by Phil, second. A second? Second by Zuccarelli, all in favor. Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor, 1 absent.
Thank you. I do apologize. I just found out about it yesterday.
Well, but applicants should also be aware of your time and the planning board's time.
Yes.
So we have 2 signatures of Kathleen Gray. Phil?
Yes, Jackie and I managed to get them done, and Matt's too, so.
Both acknowledged, Kathleen Gray and 3539 Foster Avenue.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's it. If there's no one else waiting in the waiting room, Charles? Charles?
No. Even Charles isn't waiting. Oh, there he is.
No one else is in the waiting room? Okay, good. Okay, so a motion to adjourn until 6 o'clock tonight.
Motion.
Motion by Phil, second by Zuccarelli. All in favor? Opposed, abstentions? 6 in favor, 1 absent. We're adjourned. Thank you very much.